We're pretty excited about that. And so we're not only celebrating 2 years in business, we're also launching our and you may have seen that our first YouTube video was uploaded. It's called The 6 Elements for a Successful LinkedIn Profile. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Some of you registered and sent me your information requesting a free LinkedIn profile review. So that's what I'm going to be doing today, going through some of your profiles and just giving you some tips. You will notice that there are a lot of similarities in the tips that I'm going to be sharing. And so I highly encourage you to go to the video that I uploaded earlier today, which is called The 6 Elements of a Successful LinkedIn Profile, and I uploaded it on YouTube. You will be able to find it right on our page. And I'm going to drop the link here in case anybody wants to go to it. But in that video, you will be able to get a lot more information on how to build your LinkedIn profile and how to get noticed for opportunities based on your LinkedIn profile. So it's really important when you do have a LinkedIn profile that the profile is optimized. And so we're going to get right into it in terms of our LinkedIn profile reviews. I have about 20, 25. We'll see how many I can do in an hour. If you are here live, please let me know your name, where you're joining from. That would be wonderful. You can just drop that in the chat. I would love to welcome you to today's event. And even if you're watching the replay, it's wonderful if you just introduce yourself as well. That way, once I'm going to go back on some of the comments that people are making and respond to any questions that you may have. I'm really here to spend my hour with you answering any questions you have on LinkedIn. So even if it's not your profile being reviewed, but maybe you have a question, please feel free to drop it in the comments in the chat and I will respond to that. So the video that was uploaded today is the 6 elements of a successful LinkedIn profile. And I am putting the link in the chat right away for us. There you go. Hello, Samuela. Thanks for joining us from New York. I'm glad you're here. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and we're going to get started with our first couple of reviews. Great. So I see you can all see this. This is the profile of Lacey Grant. Lacey is a senior human resource development officer. And so, so a couple of tips for your profile, Lacey. Firstly, on your LinkedIn profile, one of the first things that we see when we come to your profile is the banner. And, you know, your banner is really nice. You're telling us how awesome we are, and we appreciate that. But it would be a lot more valuable if you took that space and told us a little bit more about what you do and who you are. That way, as soon as someone comes on your profile, they have a good sense of what your target is in terms of employment, or just a good sense of what you provide in terms of being a professional. So Lacey, I would encourage you to update your LinkedIn banner. And you can go on Canva and you can easily design a banner. They have tons of templates there that are already pre-made that you can just plug and play and enter your information to update it so that it connects to what you do. And so other than that, Lacey, I also want to encourage you to personalize your LinkedIn profile URL. So this is something that I do teach. Like, I show the steps in the video that I uploaded today on the 6 elements of a successful LinkedIn profile, but I'm still going to go through the steps with you here just in case anyone missed that. So the way that you would update your LinkedIn profile URL. So this is going to be based on my profile. So once you're in your profile here, there is a section here, edit public profile and URL. So you're going to click on that. It's going to take you to this page here, and I'm just going to open this up a little bit more. And right here, you're going to see that it says edit your custom URL. And just by clicking the little pencil here, you'll be able to update your URL. So the reason this is important is that by default, your LinkedIn profile is your LinkedIn profile URL is your first name, last name, and a bunch of numbers. So you're going to be putting that on your resume. You're going to be sharing it with other people when you share the link to your profile. It doesn't look very professional, and it takes a lot of space. So by personalizing your LinkedIn profile URL, you will be able to put just your first name and your last name, your first name dot your last name, whatever you decide, and you'll be able to shorten it, and it looks a lot more professional on your profile. So the other things you want to keep in mind is that your headline, when I was going through the profiles that were shared with me, a lot of people had stuff like enthusiast is a word that I saw so many times, and I was wondering, like, okay, is this a new trend or what exactly is this? But a lot of people had that word enthusiast in their profile, and as I'm going through the profiles, you're going to see it more and more. So equality superhero, wellness enthusiast, this is great. It does give an idea of who you are and what your values are, but you want to think of your LinkedIn headline as a place where most of the searches happen. LinkedIn is a search engine as well. People do searches to find people on the platform. So you want to make the best of your headline by using keywords that someone would use to find you. If someone was looking for someone who had your skill set, what keywords would they use to find you? So most likely a person would not use equality superhero or wellness enthusiast. So keeping that in mind, maybe those words, if you feel like you're really attached to them, they can be something that you can put later in your profile, but for your headline, you want it to be keywords related to your industry that make it easy for someone to find you on the platform. So as we go in the profile here, so this person does have a creator mode account, which enables them to put some hashtags here. You can add up to 5. So if it's something you want to do, you can add 2 more in there. And then the other thing I would encourage you to do is just your about section. This is really where people will get the opportunity to learn about you. So you want to make sure that you're including accomplishments, especially for the people who are job searching, the people who are looking to get promoted. Really speak to what you've accomplished in your past roles and make it clear why you would be the ideal candidate as opposed to anyone else for this role. So I would encourage you, Lacey, to take the time to put more of a description into your about section and talk more about the accomplishments. You can write them in bullet form or in text form, but really use quantifiable accomplishments. Make it clear how much of an impact you've been able to have in your organization. And then the last thing, well, not the last thing yet. So you have your various roles here. So again, in the description, you've made it very task-oriented. You can make this more appealing to a reader by adding in more accomplishments, focusing on making, adding some space between the lines, maybe bullet form may be appropriate here. And then you've also included your licenses, certifications. For the skills section, you've used up almost all the 50. I believe you have 49, which is pretty good. You've added the courses that you've taken, honors and awards. The only thing that I noticed in terms of sections missing on this profile was the recommendations section. Recommendations are basically people that you've worked with, people who are vouching that they've worked with you and that they're writing a recommendation of how it was, what was their experience working with you. So that's another section of your profile that I would highly encourage you to include. So, all right, Lacey, so this is your profile review. I am going to get back to everyone now to see if anyone has any questions, or if anyone, I see a couple more people have joined us. Please feel free to introduce yourself. Let us know your name and where you're joining us from, and then we can continue with our LinkedIn profile reviews. Okay. So I do have a question here. Samuela is asking a question. So I will mention that I'm going to share my screen again. So I do have a different kind of LinkedIn profile. So yours may look a little different. Two things. I'm in Canada, and sometimes the updates don't come to Canada as quickly as they do elsewhere. And then I also have a premium account. So there may be some features that you're seeing that I have that you may not have. But for the most part, it's very similar. So you're asking, how can you create a resume? So when you're on your profile, it's going to look something like this. You can click more here, and then you can click build a resume. And then you can upload this as a resume. I would say, though, you have to pay attention to it in terms of when you're going to upload it. You'll most likely get a PDF document that looks very similar to your LinkedIn profile, because your LinkedIn profile is not doesn't serve the same purpose as your resume. You will still have to do some work on it. You'll still have to update it to make sure that the accomplishments are written properly for a resume, ensuring that your contact information shows up properly. So it's not just, okay, how do I get a resume from LinkedIn and then that's it? You still have to do some work on it to make sure that it's appropriate and that it looks good and that it reflects properly as a resume should. So those are just a couple of things to keep in mind if you're going to be uploading a resume from your LinkedIn profile. So Fahima, it's nice to see you. Thanks for joining. Paul and Rosemary Williams, it's wonderful to have you all here. So let's continue with our profile reviews. The next one that we have, you're welcome, Samuela. Okay, so let us get into our next review. Just a moment. Okay, so the next person we have here is Randell. I hope I'm saying that properly. So Randell, in terms of your profile, I thought your banner was really cool. I like the quote that you have here. It speaks to the fact that you are in change management. That's the industry that you're in. I really liked how you took the quote from your banner and then you also talk about it in your about section. And then you go like, hey, did you read that Charles Darwin quote on my banner? And so it shows a bit of your personality. It shows also that you took the time to make that connection. And if someone really takes the time to look at your profile, I thought it was a nice connection. So that was a really nice thing. So when I was showing the previous profile and saying that, you know, this is the way you can create a banner. So this is a unique banner, but there's also different ways that you can present your information in your LinkedIn profile banner. Okay, so here we have, this person has this is their headline. One thing is, because you're in change management, I would highly encourage you to have that specific wording in your headline. So you have change here, so you could potentially change that to change management, just so that that keyword that is so relevant to the industry that you're in is apparent somewhere in your headline. And the other thing, I really like that you had a featured section. Not a lot of the profiles that I looked at had a featured section, and you featured some of the posts that you have on LinkedIn. Your featured section is not something that you necessarily have to use. But if you have, for example, a portfolio, or if you have a website, this is somewhere that you can put that information. You can really leverage your featured section to showcase more about you, because you can you can put links where people can go to get more information. So you don't necessarily have to put posts from LinkedIn. You can put external links as well. If you have a blog, or if you have a website that gives more information about the kind of work that you do, you can put that in there as well. So the last thing that I noticed for Randell is your experience section. You did detail the different jobs that you've held, but one thing that I mentioned earlier when we were looking at Lacey's profile is just providing more details in terms of the accomplishments that you've had in the role, especially because your goal is to work in change management. How does your past experience connect to change management? What transferable skills have you acquired, or what skills have you acquired that are relevant to the field of change management? Because if I look at everything here, I could really see, oh, wow, change management, very interesting. But then when I come here, I don't really see that in terms of the experience. So those transferable skills are going to be really important. So you want to highlight those and make that connection between where you've been and where you're going in terms of your role in change management. And yeah, you had some recommendations on your profile, which is awesome. You have some skills as well. Change management is one of the skills you have on your profile, so that was excellent. You have about 34 skills. You can add up to 50, so that's something that you may want to consider adding more skills to your profile. Okay, so that was for Randell. I'm going to continue now for Adrienne Justice. So Adrienne, you do not have a banner at all. So this is something that I would encourage you to get your banner. As I mentioned earlier, you can design a banner on Canva, and you can add it to your profile. They already have preset templates that you can use and enter your own information. Your headline was good in the sense that your job title already has specific keywords to the industry that you want to be in. So it was good in that sense. You still have space, so if ever you want to add to the headline, you can definitely add to the headline. But I thought that it was good in terms of the fact that it already covers, it already has some keywords regarding your industry in your job title. Other than that, for your profile, I saw that your experience, you did talk about some of your, you gave a job description, basically. You talked about the different tasks that you've held, but it would be really great again, and this is something that goes for everyone because it's something that I saw in almost all the profiles. Instead of speaking just about your job description and the task that you did, focus on providing accomplishments. And if you can add specific numbers, either percentages of like let's say you increase the service standard, by how much, include the percentage by which you increase the service standard. If you were leading a team, how many people were on your team? How many people did you lead? And what was the impact of you being the leader of that team? So really get into the details of the things that you've been able to accomplish in that role. And another tip for your about section, as well as your experience section, is to speak in the first person. So speaking in the first person is recommended on your LinkedIn profile, even though you wouldn't do that on your resume. So that's another thing to keep in mind when you're creating your LinkedIn profile. Again, I will repeat that LinkedIn is a search engine. So those keywords that are relevant to your industry, you want to make sure that you're sprinkling them all over your profile. So in your headline, keywords should be there. In your about section, in your experience, make sure that those relevant keywords are there. So when people are looking for someone with your skill set, your profile is going to show up. And then if you have any awards or any achievements because of the level that you're at, perhaps you do have some, I would encourage you to include that. And lastly, I would say recommendations as well. Get recommendations from people that you've worked with, people who have interacted with you. That would be helpful for your profile. Okay, so we have Hoonu. I hope I'm saying that properly. So from Togo, I thought that was really cool. So you want to make sure here that your banner connects to what you do. So it's a beautiful, I'm assuming it's like a hotel or something, but you're looking to be an associate professor. So you want to make sure that in some way someone can come to your profile and understand that this is who you are, this is what you do, and that there's some kind of connection between what you are showing in your profile. So I would encourage you to update this banner. Your headline, because you're targeting a specific kind of job, I would encourage you to include those keywords in your headline so that it reflects where you want to be. I did notice that you are Francophone, and I speak French, so I could understand a lot of your profile. But depending on what type of work that you're looking for, you're in Togo, so maybe you're looking for work in Togo, you can create a LinkedIn profile in French. So that is an option that is available to you. So to have an English profile and then a French profile, and that is actually what I would encourage you to do, because you creating your profile in have like a bilingual profile. Some places are in English, some places are in French. If the person doesn't speak French or the person doesn't speak English, they're going to have a hard time understanding what you're really getting to. So the mixing of the two languages, it's better that you stick with one language on your profile. Again, personalizing your LinkedIn profile URL. And earlier in this live session, I showed you how to personalize your LinkedIn profile URL, as well as in the YouTube video that I uploaded today, I show you how to do that. So go and follow those steps so you can personalize your LinkedIn profile URL. Here, spending more time to detail the kind of experience that you have, again, focusing on accomplishments. And you only have 6 skills on your profile, so you can add up to 50. So just taking the time to add that in. The LinkedIn has a new feature now that just came out, I would say in the last couple of weeks. But basically for each experience that you have, you can add skills connected to that experience. So when you're adding in the details of this job, in the last section of it, you'll see skills. So within that, you'll be able to add the skills that are connected to that role. And when you add them in there, they're going to show up at the bottom here. And they're going to say that it's connected to that job in particular. So that's something I would encourage you to do. And you also don't have a recommendation section, so I would encourage you to add that as well. Okay, let's take a little pause here. We've done a couple of profiles. Let me just check if anyone has any questions. If anyone is just joined us, please introduce yourself. Let us know where you're joining us from, and then we'll continue with our next couple of profiles in a bit. So as I mentioned earlier, I just launched my YouTube channel. Today's the very first day. I had a couple of videos, just like reels that I had done elsewhere on Instagram that I had reposted there, but today's like the first official video. And so if you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, I encourage you to do so. I'm going to be sharing content every Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to have a video that is going to go out teaching you different things regarding leadership, regarding LinkedIn, as well as regarding job searching. So resume writing, today somebody asked a question about resume writing, and it gave me an idea that it would be good to do a video about that. So I encourage you to subscribe so that you get the notifications for that. And between the Thursday videos, I'm sometimes going to be uploading videos as well during the week, just doing some short videos where I'll be providing quick tips, how to you get the best out of LinkedIn, or even tips regarding resume writing. So in addition to that, if you have any topics that you would really like me to cover in a YouTube video, I would be happy and glad to do that. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's been a big day, and it's been a lot of work. I didn't realize how much goes into creating a YouTube video. So much that I've learned in terms of video, audio. I'm still learning, and but it's been a great experience, and it's only been possible because of you. A lot of you follow me on LinkedIn, and many have encouraged me and been like, you should get a YouTube channel. Why aren't you on YouTube? And I've just been a bit hesitant, but I decided, like, this year it was on my to-do list, and I decided I'm doing it for our company anniversary. So thank you everyone who encouraged me to start a YouTube channel. And thank you also for encouraging me to continue. My goal really is to help as many people in terms of emerging leaders as well as job seekers to achieve their goals and to land the roles that they want and they deserve at the salary that they deserve as well. So if this is helping you in the process, I'm really glad and grateful to hear that. So thank you for all the congratulations. All right, so any questions on LinkedIn or anything I've said from other people's profiles that you noticed that maybe you want to get some clarification on, just put it in the chat and I will respond to that. So we have a couple more profiles to look at. So let's continue. Okay. Let me close this. So next we have Janae Scott. I'm just going to open my notes here. Okay. All right. So similar to what we've said before, your banner, just making sure your banner is connected to what you do. And it's a really nice landscape that you have here, but just making sure that your banner has a connection to what you do. And again, you can go on Canva to create a banner. Your headline is basically your job title, so which has keywords regarding your industry, so that's good. But I would also encourage you that you have more space to add here in terms of your headline. When you filled out the form, you included some incredible keywords that I thought that you could include in there. So you said procurement specialist, you said project manager, you said operations and business operations manager. Those are all keywords that you can include either in your headline or elsewhere in your profile. So making your about section more focused on the things that you've accomplished will be very helpful for you in terms of catching the attention of a person who's coming to your profile. And I really liked that you had this as bullet form. I'm assuming this is probably a copy paste from your resume, but the only thing that I would say is that instead of making it focus on task, make it more focused on accomplishment. So this is a good example. So let's do this example. So this person says, coordinates external vendor enrollment and manages budget requests. Okay, so what? What does that really tell someone about the job that you do and the type of work that you do? So you coordinate the external vendor enrollment. What does that even mean? So can you give more detail of what that means? What do you do in the enrollment process? You're managing the budget requests. How many budget requests? What's the amount of the budget request? Is it request for $1,000? Are we talking about budget requests for $10 million? That makes a difference in terms of showing like the volume or the trust that the organization has in you and the work that you're doing. So when I'm talking about accomplishments, take the time to really go deeper in terms of your career story and detailing what are the things that you've accomplished, but always keeping in mind, what is my target? If, let's say, this person, and this is not the case for this person, but imagine this person was making a career change and they decide to have a target that's completely not related to what they're doing today. And what they're going to put in the description will be slightly different than a person who wants to stay in the same industry. So always have your goal in mind. What am I trying to achieve with my profile? Who is going to be coming to my profile? Who's the audience? how can I speak to that person who will come to my profile? So that is really important. And the last thing I will add, again, similar to other people, you didn't have a recommendation section. So asking former colleagues, former bosses, anyone who's worked with you, asking them for some recommendations for your profile would be great. Okay, Omotara. Okay, so this is a good example. So even though this person doesn't necessarily have like a Canva banner that has maybe their name and their job title, this, however, does give me an idea of what they do. I can understand from the banner that they're doing something probably regarding networks and data, something IT tech related, and that's their industry. So sometimes we've seen two examples like this. The other person that had the really good quote about Charles Darwin, and that was like showing their personality, but it still spoke to what they did. And this person is not necessarily in words telling you what they're doing, but with a picture and with an image, they're telling you what they're doing. And that's why I was telling you there's different ways that you can make your banner. So you don't have to follow a one size fits all, but it does need to at least speak to the type of work that you do. Okay, so again here, data analyst enthusiast. So when I was telling you earlier that I saw this word enthusiast so many times on people's profiles, and I was like, what is going on? Why is everybody an enthusiast? So you don't necessarily have to put that in there. A person who's looking for your profile will not use the word enthusiast. They will use the word data analyst. So it's great to put it in there, but you could potentially save the space for other keywords that are more relevant. For example, when you filled the form and that you sent to me, you used some really good keywords. You said junior project engineer. You said data analyst, which you have in here. You also said process engineer. So all those are keywords that because I basically used the form to help obviously understand what are the kinds of roles that you may be targeting or you want to get into, but also to understand what are the keywords that we can use for your profile. And that's what you want to spend some time doing. Before you get into, okay, I'm going to update my LinkedIn profile, spend some time thinking, what are the roles I'm actually targeting? What industry is it in? Like, who will be coming to my profile? And that will make it a lot easier for you to complete. So a lot of you who did complete the form that I sent you, go back to that form, go back to your answers and look at the keywords that you wrote, and those will help you in developing your profile. So I thought your profile was really nice. You took some time. I can tell you've put in some effort to complete the various sections. Like many people, you've most likely copy pasted your resume into here. So just making sure that you take the time to go a level deeper and just adding some accomplishments and adding some numbers that represent what you've been up to. And similar to what's been said, your recommendation section is missing. So that's another section that I would encourage you to include. Something that we haven't seen in a lot of profiles that this person does have is that they have honors and awards. So if you do have any special recognition, honors, awards, you want to add them to your profile. They also added projects. So this is most likely a recent graduate who has some projects related to their field. So that's something you can add in. They also added courses. The courses, because I believe you're a recent grad. Let me just see when you graduated. 2021. So that makes sense. Because this person is a recent grad, it does make sense. If you're someone with 10, 20 years of work experience, you don't need to put every university course that you've taken. If you've taken some professional development courses that are related to your industry, then yeah, you can add them in there, but not necessarily if you have a lot of experience in your industry, graduated many years ago, you don't need to detail every university course that you've taken. So let's continue with Audrey. Audrey is from Ghana. Hi, Audrey. So this is your profile. Again, similar to what we've said for other people, your banner needs to be updated. For your picture, Audrey, I would encourage you to flip it a little bit. Just rotate it. When you're in LinkedIn, you're able to adjust the picture so that you're looking directly at the person. Something that is good for your pictures, that you're looking directly at the person, instead of, sometimes people have pictures that they're looking elsewhere, or here it's just tilted. So, it's not a deal breaker, but it would be good if you just adjust the picture a little bit so you're looking directly at the person. So you have some keywords in here that is good, and as you will see again, enthusiast is here as well. So you gave me some good keywords when you filled the form. You said biomedical engineer intern, so consider adding that into your headline, into your about section as well. And I did like that you were one of the few people that writes in the first person on their profile. I also really like that on your profile, you added some media. LinkedIn at the end of the day is still social media. So if you have any images, you have a website, anything that shows like the kind of work that you've done. So this person showed some information about their internship. And so if you have anything like that that can direct people to understand what exactly you were doing there, that is something that you can add into your profile as well. And you have a lot of volunteering experience, which is really good. If you do volunteer, that is something that you want to add into your profile. Like the two last profiles we just looked at are people who are recent grads. So you want to add that in, especially if you don't have a lot of experience regarding your industry, and take the time to detail what you were doing in terms of your volunteer experience. Your skills section, you only have 14 skills, so you can add up to 50. So I would encourage you to take advantage of the fact that you can add up to 50. And again, a recommendation section would be good to add. Angel. So Angel, I don't have much to say. And the reason is because there is almost nothing on your profile. So for Angel, I would tell you, go to the new YouTube video I just uploaded, the 6 elements of a successful LinkedIn profile. Watch that video and start creating your profile, because there's nothing for me to review yet. So I encourage you to do that. All right. Ismail, awesome profile, very complete, keyword rich. So this is, if we wanted an example, maybe you don't know how to update your profile, this is one that you could look at. Again, a banner that does give an idea. So talks about big data, so it does give a sense of what this person does. The only thing I would say is that you can write in the first person, add a recommendation section as well. And for your experience, like many people, as you've heard, adding accomplishments instead of tasks will elevate your profile to the next level, but you've done really well in terms of completing your LinkedIn profile. And Abhishek, I hope I'm saying that properly. I saw that you were online and that you were connecting from somewhere else. I think you're connecting from India, and it was like 2 a.m. wherever you were connecting. Thank you for being here live with us, and you sent me a message. So thank you so much for joining today's event. So for your profile, similar to what I've shared with other people, you want to make sure that your banner gives some information about what you do. So updating your LinkedIn profile banner will be very helpful. You have your open to work sign on. So that is a feature in LinkedIn that you can add to your profile, especially for those who are looking for work. So I often get asked the question, should I put the green banner for open to work, or should I only put it so only recruiters can see that I'm open to work? So here's the distinction. When you put the green banner open to work, everybody can see it. Anybody on LinkedIn can see it that you're currently looking for work. If you only choose recruiters only recruiters who have access to the back end of LinkedIn, who have basically paid a certain amount of money to get that access, can see that you're open to work. So what I often tell people is that if you're currently looking for work and you don't necessarily want your boss to know, or you don't necessarily want your whole audience or your whole network to know, then go with the recruiter only option. If you are open to work and you have no issue with people knowing that you're open to work, and you actually want more people to know that you're open to work, then do what this person has done and put the green banner on your profile. So you have some great achievements that you have on your profile, which I thought was awesome. So your headline is good. You've included that you're 7 times Microsoft certified, 3 times TIBCO certified, which is amazing. One thing I would say, just add additional keywords related to where you want to be. So you talked in the format that you filled out, you talked about data scientist, data analyst, software engineer. You want those keywords as well to show up somewhere in your headline. And then I like that you took the time to add your certifications to your featured section. If you have a website or a portfolio, you want to consider adding that in here as well. So a portfolio that shows the kind of work that you do can be added in here as well. You have your different activities so far has been you telling people of your achievements of your certifications. So you can do more with the featured section if you have other like whether a website or you have a blog or anything that really showcases the work that you do. So here you speak in the third person. As I've mentioned, you can speak in the first person, and adding some accomplishments would be great. Something that I haven't said about the about section, I'm going to refresh so I can show you this. When somebody comes on your profile here, the first thing that they see when they go on your profile for the about section is the first 3 or 4 lines. Before they can see the rest, they need to click see more. So you want to make sure that those 3 or 4 lines really tell a good story about who you are, what you do, and what you have to offer. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're writing your profile about section. And then another thing I have not said about the about section is adding a call to action at the end. Okay, they've come to your profile, they read your about section. What do you want them to do? Do you want them to connect with you on LinkedIn? Do you want them to go to your website to go see your portfolio? Do you want them to send you a message to continue the conversation? Whatever you want them to do, add it as a call to action. So this person does have a call to action, and it's something that I encourage you all to add to your profiles as well. So giving more information about your experience here, you've talked about the different skills that you've acquired, but talking more about what the job was and detailing your different achievements in that job will be very helpful as well. And a section that you currently don't have on your profile, like most people we've talked about today, is the recommendations. So let's take a little pause. We still have a couple of minutes. Let me check if we have any questions. Okay. I am just going to upload my my next round of profiles. But as you see, as I mentioned before we started, a lot of the comments that I'm giving people are very similar in the sense that it's basically the key areas of the profile that have to be updated. So the about section, making sure that you are focusing on accomplishments as opposed to tasks, and that's something that's very important for your resume as well. So just making sure that you're paying attention to some of those things. And the video I uploaded today, I go into detail about all those things, so that will be super helpful for you and in your profile. So I'm just uploading my next round of profiles I have here. So just give me one moment. And Rosemary, I saw your message, so I'm going to add you to this round here. Okay. So we have about time for maybe another 8 profiles, and then we will call it a day. So let me share this here. Okay, so let's continue where we left off. So this is Victorine. Just opening my notes. Oh, sorry. I'm going to start with Yolanda. So, Yolanda, your profile, you have, again, as we've mentioned, the banner can be updated, make it connected to the work that you do. Your headline is basically your job title or the work that you're currently doing. So, I like that you have healthcare revenue cycle because that is who you are, that is what you do, but you still have space to add more to your headline. Similar to what we've said for the other profiles, the about section needs to be updated, more information in terms of your experience. Here, what you've done is you've set accomplishments, but in your accomplishments, what you did is you've added different skills. So these are all things that you could potentially add to your skill section. And as I mentioned earlier, like LinkedIn now has a new feature where you can add skills right on the bottom. So potentially, instead of having this all listed in the experience section, you could add it as a line at the bottom that says skills that could detail these things that you've included here. And you can add up to 50 skills. You have 29 now. And then also a recommendation section would be good to add to your profile. Catrice, your profile, again, like many people, your banner, you do have some good keywords in here, so that is actually very good. Also, similar to other people, giving more in terms of your accomplishments for your about section and your experience. I do like that you added a call to action and you've told them what you want them to do. Please contact me at the following email. So that is very good that you've added that call to action. And you do not you do have a recommendation section, which is great. I would encourage you to get more recommendations and that the people can maybe detail a little bit more of what you did in terms of working with them. And depending what your target is, you want to make sure that that is clear throughout your profile, what the target kind of work that you want to focus on. But your picture looks great. You're smiling, so that's amazing. And yeah. Julius. So Julius, and I'm going to talk about Julius' profile, but I'm also going to talk about Defang, who also filled in the form, and Paul Yeboah Asamoah. So whatever comments I'm giving on Julius's profile is relevant to these 3 profiles. So updating the LinkedIn banner is important. We can't see your face. So it's important that you edit this, and so just bring it down. Bring the picture down. That's something that you can work with the settings on LinkedIn to be able to do that. In the form you filled, you included some good keywords: logistics officer, procurement officer, operations officer. Make sure that those keywords are showing up somewhere in your profile, especially in your headline. The same thing for Defang. You had some good keywords that were not showing up in your headline: mechanical engineer, logistics officers. Those were keywords that I didn't see in your headline. And the same thing for Paul Yeboah Asamoah, front-end developer, full-stack developer. Those keywords should show up in your headline. So similar to what we've been talking about for all the profiles we've reviewed, your about section can be in the first person. Focus on giving some accomplishments. The same thing in your experience here. Education looks good. You have some volunteer experience, looks good. Leverage up to the 50 skills that you have available to you. And maybe I'll say a little bit about something here that we haven't talked about since we've been on this session today is the interest section. So interest section is basically you've gone to certain profiles and you've started following certain companies, or you've started following certain groups. So when you do follow those, they show up on your profile. And often what tends to happen is that people who may have similar interests as you are more likely to be those who show up in your search results more than others who do not have similar interests as you do. So just keep that in mind when you're choosing or following different influencers or companies, that they show up at the bottom here of your profile. So for example, Julius, you followed 192 companies, and we can see all the companies here when we go on your profile. So something to keep in mind that we haven't talked about yet. So Defang, the same comments I gave to Julius are relevant for your profile. So please make those updates. And then we have next Richard. Richard, I saw your profile. Your profile was excellent. I have nothing else to add. Congratulations on having a good profile that has lots of pictures about you, lots of pictures about the work that you do. So if anybody wants a good example of a good LinkedIn profile, this is someone you can look at. Okay, Johari, good profile. Again, keywords, product manager, associate product manager, and project manager. So project management is here. So you could do more in terms of adding more keywords. I really, really, really liked in your about section that you have some keywords here. So just keeping in mind that some of these things can go in the skills section. So always basically just ensure that you can add some of that information at the bottom of your profile, which is the skills section right here, and that information will still show up in your profile. And other than that, like most people, you didn't have a recommendation section, so just adding that in and asking some people for recommendations. Rosemary, we made it to your profile right in time. Okay, Rosemary, you are a human resource professional. That's the industry that you work in. Make sure that your banner speaks to that in some way, so that it's clear when somebody comes to your profile what you do. Right now, you've just basically said that you're just using the default blue banner that comes with the LinkedIn profile. Your picture looks good. You could potentially zoom it out a little bit, because you want to keep in mind when most people, when they're coming on LinkedIn, they're actually doing it on their phone, and the phone is a lot smaller when you're looking at the information. So things that are really zoomed in on the phone don't show very well. So just something to keep in mind when you're creating your LinkedIn profile. Don't only think about it in terms of I'm using this on my computer. Also think about it that people will be using this and looking at it on their phone. So that's something that you also want to keep in mind. You have more space here to add more in terms of your headline. I do like that you've added your credentials to your name. So all those who have many, many credentials, this is the place that you want to show them off and add those credentials next to your name. Rosemary, you're hiring, and you've added that information here. So that's really good. And it also shows up that you have a banner that you are hiring. So that's good. And similar to what we've spoken about for other people's profiles in the About section, making sure you're talking about accomplishments, making sure that you're adding numbers, add a call to action as well. And here, I can tell this is probably a copy paste from your resume. So take the time to read each statement. Like I showed you the example of the other person's profile. Read each statement, and at the end of each statement, ask yourself, so what? Because that will help you dig deeper to provide more information about the impact that you've actually had in that role. So you can do the same thing for your previous roles. So just another thing that I have not said yet, Rosemary, you do have several years of experience. So on your LinkedIn profile, you don't need to put all your job experience. You can stick to those that are the most relevant. because most of your work experience has been in HR, it is good. But let's say another person, you've worked in different places. Maybe you don't need to detail every single job, just focus on the ones that are relevant to your current target. Education is here, which is awesome. License certification. You have your skills that have been detailed here. You have up to 50, so you can add more. And you do have recommendations. You have 5, so that's really good. Oh, somebody wrote you a really good detailed recommendation. That's very nice of them. So yes, if you can get more, that would be great. And as I spoke about interest before, Rosemary, your LinkedIn profile URL is personalized, so that's very good. So overall, you have a pretty good profile. Just making those tweaks and adjustments will help you in terms of your profile. And last and not least for today, Victorine is a research officer in Cameroon. A lot of the things that I've said today are applicable to your profile, updating your banner, adding more keywords so people know the type of industry that you're in. Right now, it's very general. Even in your open to work, you've said head of laboratory researcher. In what industry, in what field? Add more information even in your open to work so that recruiters or whoever is seeing that can know that, okay, that's the right person that has a skill set that we're looking for. This can be, you can basically what you've done right now is that you've listed a bunch of tasks. You can break this down a little bit more and elevate it by including more accomplishments. I will say though that your about section is one of the key places that someone will go to. Right now, you're talking about professional experience that was launched in 2011 through an internship program. You have lots of professional experience. You've been working since 2014. There's no need to talk about something that happened in 2011 as an intern when you have professional experience. So that's something to always keep in mind. Stick to what's relevant, but also what is most recent and what is most impactful. So maybe that's just because you haven't updated your profile in a very long time. So this would be the opportunity to update your profile and not focus on things that have happened so long ago and focus on what is more recent. You do have recommendations, which is awesome. And you've added honors, awards, and yeah, your skills section, how's that looking? You can add up to 50 as well. Okay. We've done a lot. I've gone through a lot of profiles today. I hope that was helpful and that some people got some tips that will help them in updating their LinkedIn profiles. And who else is here? Okay, somebody's asking about their profile. So, okay, if you are on the form that I sent out and I didn't get to your profile yet, there's maybe like 10 that I haven't gotten to your profile. I'm going to be doing a second one. I'll let you know when the date is. So if you're not on my email list, please join the email list because that's where I share the information first. So the LinkedIn profile reviews, I shared it with my email list first. They knew, and that's why the people who are on my email list got first dibs. Those are the ones I reviewed first before I got to everybody else. So if you want to be first in line for things like this, just join my email list. And that way next time when I schedule the next date to do the follow-up where I'll complete the other profiles, you'll be one of the first to be able to get your profile reviewed. So for those who are wondering how to join my email list, this is the link to join my email list. And that's where I share information first for the people who've taken the time to join my email list. So again, thank you for joining. My first link, my first YouTube video is out. It's live, and it's 6 elements for a successful LinkedIn profile. So please go and watch the video. A lot of the questions that we saw, a lot of the things I talked about today, I talk about in that video in more detail. So you will learn a lot more by watching that video. And in addition to that, subscribe. I set a goal for myself that I'm going to get 100 subscribers by launch. I don't know what number I'm at now, but I think I'm close. So if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe to my YouTube page so that you can help me to achieve the goal to get 100 subscribers. Oh, I'm at 97. 3 more. Okay, so 3 more people, and that will take us to the 100. Samuela, you're most welcome. I'm so happy that I got to do this and to connect with a lot of you. I see a lot of you on LinkedIn, and this is a good way for us to interact together. Thank you so much, Rosemary. I appreciate the kind words, and I'm really excited for what is to come for WeApply. You know, it's been an awesome 2 years, a lot of ups and downs, but still we've been pushing forward and making an impact to support a lot of leaders to be able to get hired and promoted in various industries. And I'm really happy about the work that we've been able to do. Hi, Patrick. So nice that you're able to join us. Thank you so much for coming. It's appreciated. And Kathy, as I mentioned before, get on my email list so that the next time I do another one like this, you'll be one of the first people to get your profiles reviewed if I didn't end up reviewing it today. So again, the video, 6 elements of a successful LinkedIn profile, is live, so you can go watch it. And to all of you, thank you for participating, and have a lovely day, evening. Some of you, it's nighttime. Thank you for joining in the middle of the night, and have a great night. Take care. Bye.